Okay, so let me start again. We want to build a system that will register a student, add a student's fees, and then allow us to view a student. Okay, so we want to do these three things. We want to register a student, add a student, and view a student's fees. That is what we want to do. Now, the first thing we would have to do in order to achieve this application is to build the student class. So we would have a student class. The student class would involve the following attributes. You have the student's name, we'll have the student's age, we'll have the course the student is doing, and we'll have the total fees that the student is going to or has to pay. And then we have the payment of fees. That is the amount of money that the student is paying at that current time. So for us to create a particular student, these are the things in or pieces of information in which we need to save. We will create the following methods to it. We would add get remaining fees. We'll also have pay fees. And then we'll have, obviously, we'll have getters for the name. So we'll have a getter for the name. And we'll have a getter for the age. And then we'll have a getter for the course. So these are the pieces of information that we would need to create for the student. We will have all of these ones here for the methods or actions the student will do. And we have all of these ones here for the information we will save about the student. So far, who doesn't understand what I have said? Remember, the course is not just about us learning the principles. We must be able to use the principles. So it is very important for me that no matter, even if I'm not with you when you are given a question, you would be able to deduce and solve the question. So let me ask again. So far, who doesn't understand what we are doing? So we all understand. So I can go on. Beautiful. Let me go on there. So first thing I will do is I would open up my IntelliJ. I would go and open my IntelliJ app. I want to start a new project. So here I'll call my project fee collection. Fee collection app. Very simple. In here, I would click on create. And then I will have my project being here. Over here, I have my project. You can see I have my main class here. And then I have my SRC here. I have no other files in there. I would right click here, go to new. Yep.
Please, I want to ask a question. Concerning the ID you are using, can you use, we are using, what do we call it? Okay, I am using this thing, Eclipse. And will it be okay, or I still have to install the IntelliJ?
You can use Eclipse to do what you want to do. The only thing is that the Eclipse, the interface, there are some things which will be different. So it means those different things, I will not be able to tell you what they are. That's the only thing. But if you feel comfortable with Eclipse, you can continue using Eclipse.
Because from the very beginning, they made us use Eclipse, so we haven't been able to store all the other one. Thank you.
Okay. So over here, we'll have new Java class. And in here, I will type in student so that I can have my student class created for me. Now, in here again, I'm going to have my name, my age, my course, my total fee, and then my paid fees. Now, a variable in Java cannot be left like this. A variable in Java has to have, first of all, the modifier. So here I'm going to give it the modifier of private. And we know why, now we should know why we are giving private and what private does. And what principle of Java is ensuring that the private would work and do what it has to do for us. So here I'll use private. And secondly, I need to give the type of data it will be saving. For the name, I'm going to save it as a string. For the age is going to be an integer. For the course is going to be a string. And then for the fee paid is going to be an integer. And over here it is going to be an integer. Of course, you can make this place a double or a double because of the passwords and things. Just being an example, I'm just using integer. So we are assuming every student over here is going to be paying the same amount of fees, which is going to be 1,000 Ghana cedis for their school fees. Okay. Now here, I'm going to tell the computer that it should give it an initial value of 1,000 so that we know that the fees at the beginning of it is 1,000. That means everybody at the beginning of their school fees, they are paying what? 1,000. If you do not want each person to pay 1,000 as their beginning school fee, then you have to make room for that and enter that yourself. Now, I have created the variables. I need to create a constructor that will help me to construct my class student. So here I have public. I have the constructor name called student. And in here, I have the parameters where I have string, name, comma, int, age, comma, and then string again, course. Okay. Now here I have the body where I'll just say this dot name is equal to name. This dot age is equal to age. And this dot course is equal to course. Now, this here presents me with the constructor that I would use to construct my class when I am creating it. So now I have it. And when I am creating my class, the constructor will take the name of the student, the age of the student, and the course the student is doing, and use that information to build my class. So here I have it done. Over here too, I need to have getters and set getters for name and then age and course. I don't need setters. Why? Because this thing here is going to set the name, set the age, and set the course. So I don't need setters, but I need getters because I need to retrieve the age I have done, the name I have done, and the course I have done. To create a getter for name, I'll say public. Since it is a string, I'll use string. And I'll use the word get name, and I'll put my bracket over here and my body over here and just say return name. Very simple. I have to do the same thing for course. So over here for course, I'll just change the word here to course, and here also change to what? To course. Oh, sorry, small c, course. And then between them here, I'll create public, integer, age, bring my bracket, my parenthesis and my body, and just say return age. So I've created my getters for age, course, and name. So whenever I say get age, whatever the age of the person is would be saved for me. Get course to return the same course and so on and so forth. Now, over here, I'm going to create a class I'm going to create another method, which is public, and it is an integer, which means it will return a value. And over here, I'm going to call it get remaining fee. And I have my body here. And in here, I will return the total fees minus the paid fees. Perfect. In here again, I'll say public void, which means there will be no return type. Pay fees into brackets int amount. And over here, I have my parentheses, and I'll say if amount is greater than or equal to get remaining fees. Now, for your practice purposes, this symbol here, it is IntelliJ that is automatically doing it for me. What I actually did was I did the sign greater than or equal to, let me do it here. Let me do // I did greater than or equal to, and whenever I do the greater than and I press the equal to, it changes it to this for me. So it is the computer that is automatically doing it. There's no symbol on your computer that looks like this. You have to do greater than and equal to together. But for IntelliJ, because you want to write this mathematically, to do that so that it is easy for you to comprehend and read. Now in here, I'm going to say if into bracket, I've already done the if, so I'll say paid fees plus equal to amount. Okay, so whatever the amount of money the person is entering as fees, if that amount is smaller than or equal to the remainder of the fees, then we'll say, let us take that amount of money and add it to the paid fees. So remember, this statement here is the same as me writing paid fees is equal to paid fees plus amount. This is the same as me writing this statement over here. So instead of me writing this whole statement here, I'll just write paid fees plus equal to what? Amount. This here is how I will create the class called student. So now I've created a class called student. Now I'll come to my main. I'll remove all of this thing here because I don't need it. And I'll remove the thing at the top over here because I also don't need it. Good. So now I am here in my main class. Now in my main class, I am going to create the interface that the person will interact with. So the first thing I need to do is I need to tell the computer I'm going to be using JFrame. And I want a new frame, which would be equal to new JFrame. And then in here, I will have student registration and fee payment system. So based on the knowledge we have from what we have been doing, it means we have a class somewhere on the computer. Note that the moment I brought JFrame here, it went to JavaX, the package, and in JavaX, it found this folder and it is selecting all the things there. That means this JFrame here is coming from JavaX. That means when you are typing JFrame and this import swing.star is not there, you will not get the JFrame. That's number one. When you get a JFrame, it is a class. This here is an object. And over here, this here is the constructor for the JFrame. The same way we did a constructor here, the same way in the JFrame, there is a constructor there. And the constructor there takes a string, which is a title, and it puts the title in here. Now, in my JFrame that I have created, I want to set the size of my screen. So screen size to 500 by 500. That means that the width of my screen is going to be 500, and then the height of my screen is also going to be 500. I'm going to tell the JFrame that it should set default close operation to JFrame dot exit close. That means that the close button, whenever you see that when I have like this application, I have an X button here I can use to close. This will make sure that that close button is there for me so that I can close my application. And then I don't want to use any special layout. So I'm going to say dot set layout to now so that it knows I'm not using any special layout. Now, on top of that, I'm going to tell my computer that it should make the JFrame visible. And it should be true. Now, if I put false here, it means that I cannot see my JFrame. So when I click this button here to run, I can see that on my screen now, I should have this. So you can see this is the title. It is 500 by 500. Let me collapse this so that there's nothing on my screen so you can see better. So this is what that code gave me. It gave me 500 by 500. This is the title. And then I can see the close button and X buttons and things are here. And I said I don't want any layout. And I set the visibility to what? True. That means that if I write the code I am writing, oh, sorry. Where is the IntelliJ? Okay. If I write the code I am writing here, and I set this to what? False. It means that when I rerun this code, I will get nothing popping up for it to show for me. So this means that everything in which I have done here, show it. This was what is going to show it. Very, very important. So now I can show. Now, if I run this code again, we can see that the pop-up will come up again so that I can see that this is what I am getting. Now, in here, we need to design the things in which the person will interact with. Now, over here, we said that when you want to create a student, you need the name, you need the age, and you need a course. So we need to go and collect those information so that we can use it to construct the student. So in here, before I tell it to be visible, I can't tell it to be visible while I'm creating the thing. So I have to create them before I tell the computer, hey, be visible. So in doing that, I'm going to start with the registration section. So all of this code here is for the registration of the student. First of all, I need to create a label. So I'll say J label is reg label, which is equal to new J label. And then in here, I'll put student registration. Wonderful. Now, I'll tell the computer the label I have done, set the boundaries of the label to 10, 10, 200 by 25. And then I want you to go and add the label I have created to my frame. So this will create the label. This will set the dimensions so that it is at the location on the X plane 10 and at the Y plane 10. And then here I want it to be 200 width by that. And then I will take it and add it to my frame. Now, let us note some things here. Look at how abstraction is working and look at how construction is working. Here I've created an object from the JLabel class. Once I create the object from the JLabel class, I use the constructor here to build it. So I'll just put in the text here and it knows that, okay, this is the writing that is in the label. Now, the dot here means that this here is a function in the reg label. Like here, I have a function called what? Remaining school fees, get it. So that is the same thing I'm doing here, dot this. And that is taking 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Like here, my pay fees is taking only one thing. Over here, it is taking 1, 2, 3, 4 things. And I do not care how it does the set boundaries. All I care about is I'm setting boundary and I'm putting the code in here. So this is abstraction, hiding the complexities of the code away from a particular user. This is abstraction working in its fullest. I don't care about how the boundaries are set, but what I care about is it should be on the X plane, on the Y plane at this point, and then I have my width and my height over here. When you're done, add it to the frame I have created. So when I click here, I expect that the frame I have created will appear. And on my screen, I would see a label. And you can see the label says what? Student registration. It is on 10 this way. And over here, it is also on what? 10. And it is showing here for that width. And it is showing over there for me. Now that I have that there, I need to create another label. So I'm going to create another label. I'm going to say JLabel is equal to name label, which is equal to new JLabel. And the title of this would be name semicolon. And then I'll close over here. So in here, I would set the boundaries for my label to. So I have name label dot set boundaries. And then for this one, I want it to be on 10, but it should be 40. And over here, it should have a width of 100, but a height of 250. So when I press this again, I'll see that I have my item. Oh, sorry. When I press again, my item should be here. It did not come here. Why did it not come here? Because I didn't tell the computer that it should take the item I have created and go and add it to the what? The frame. So because I didn't add it to the frame, that's why it didn't appear over there. Great. So now when I run it, I should have my item appearing over here. I have student registration, name, semicolon, and it is, you can see that the gap here is because this is at 10, this is at 40. So 1, 2, 3, then 4. This is the distance between them, and it is showing the distance very, very well. Now, I have my label. The next thing I need is the text field that the person will type into. So here I would create J text field. Name field is equal to new J text field. In here, I would say name field dot set boundaries. And in here, I can put in the boundary I want. As 120 by 40 by 150 by 25. And of course, I need to tell the computer that add it to the what? The frame. So here I'll have name field. So that when I come back here, I click there, it loads, I will have name. You can see where the starting point is. This is the 120, and then it is still on the 40, so that this and this are on the same line. And I have a text field here. I can type someone's name and stuff over there. Of course, if I want the width to be higher, I can say 250, for example. And when I click here, I'll see that the box I have would be a bit what bigger, so that the person can type some more and see some more things over there. So you see, I am in control of everything. To be honest with you, next week when we come, we will deal with the interface that will help us design this from the design view. But we have to learn how we can write it before we learn how we can design it with the design view. And so that when we are the design view, we will understand the things that are there. So I have finished with my first box. I have done a name, and then I have done a field. So next thing I'll do is I'll do the J label. Sorry, J label. For age. And this would be equal to new J label. And in here, I'll put in age semicolon. And then I'll come here and then close this off. Okay. Now, it will have the same boundaries as the name. So I have age label dot set boundaries. But the only thing is that for the age, I would not be at 0.40 anymore. I'll move to 0.70 so that there's a bit of a gap there. Then here I would say it should display the age label. So when I click here, I'll see that this is at 0.40, but this is at 0.70. Is that okay? Then that means that this one will still be at 0.70, but that will be 1, 2. I'll use the x-axis for this one over here instead of that. So I'm now coming to do the age field. So I have J field, J text field, and in here I'm going to put age field is equal to new J text field. And then over here, I'm going to set the boundary for this. So I have this dot get boundary, get bounds. And then in here, I'm going to put 120, 70, 250, 25. Did I do something wrong? Let's see. Oh, sorry. I said get bounds. So here should be what? Set bounds. Yeah. Perfect. So over here, I can now see we should add it to the what? The frame. So frame dot add into brackets, and here I'll add age field. Perfect. So now when I click here, I will have this name, age, that. Okay. The last thing which we have to do is we have to do for the course. So I'll have another J-frame for course. I think we have the drill now, so I'll cheat a bit and do this. So I have course here. The course would be, yeah, that's fine. Sorry, that's fine. Here would be 250. So I have the same thing for course, so that when I stop and rerun, I can see I have added course to my screen. So I've age, that, and course. Okay. Now, of course, the individual will have to click on a button to submit the registration they have done. So I have J button. And in J button, I'm going for register button, which is equal to new J button. And then it is register. That is the name that will appear on the button. So it is register. In here, I have I'll pick the register button. And then I would set the bounds of the register button to 210, 130, 250, 25. Okay, and I will save this. So now when I come back here, I stop and I rerun. I should have seen my button over here. But as you can see, I'm not seeing the button here. Why? Because I didn't tell the computer to go and take the frame and add the component called register button. So now when I click here, I'll see that the component called register button is here for me. So I have this piece of information too. Perfect. Now, when I am here, I will come. I will fill in here. Let's say here I have information on, let's say, Derek. Here I have information on Derek. Over here, I say Derek is, let's say, 31. And here I say he's doing the course IT. When I type this piece of information here and I click register, I'm supposed to add Derek to the courses in which I have and the list of students I have. Okay. Now, before I start writing the code for that, the first thing I need to do is I need to explain something at this point in time. You see, this buttoning which I have over here, I need to tell the computer to that when I click this, do something. So on me clicking on this, go and take the information and do something. So here, I need to create what is called a listener. The job of the listener is to like when you have this page, it is waiting so that once you click on the button, then it will go and do. So it is listening for the clicking of the button. Okay. It is, I don't know how to describe it more, but it is waiting for you. That's that when you click the button, then it will go and execute a particular set of actions. So I'm going to put in here that go and take the registration button because of course we created the registration button here. Now, when you take that registration button, I want you to add a listener, an action listener. So in here, you can see that immediately an action listener is created over here. Okay. Now in here, I'm going to put the action that would be done when the button is clicked. So in here, I would say new action listener. And you can see that the moment I click on it, it gives me all of this information. But remember, all of this information is inside this bracket. There's no curly bracket outside, it's here. So I'm telling the computer that when you click on this button, I want you to go and take this. And when you take this, go and do what you have in this piece of code here. And I'll put what will be done over here. Okay, so what the message I would want to give the individual or whatever calculation I will do, I'll put it here because here is where I am listening to the person so that I'll know if the person has clicked on the button or not, or what the person is trying to do. Please, do we have any questions so far?
Sir Mark.
Yeah.
Please, with the IntelliJ, does it come with the JFrame or you install it differently?
It comes with the JFrame and everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Eclipse also comes with the JFrame and anything, by the way. Okay, so in here, I want to see if what I'm saying is true. So I'm going to create a J option pane. The J option pane is Java's way of showing a message dialog box. So in here, I'm going to say now, comma, and then here I'm going to say this. In the message, I'm going to say this is a text. And then I'm going to specify to Java the type of error message I want to give out. So it's just going to be an info. And right. I want to also specify to Java that this is a J option pane dot info message. What is it? Okay. Okay. So now if I run this code again, I'm here. so we see it here, okay? In here, if I click this button here, I should see a pop-up. Okay, there's something wrong. The pop-up has come, but I don't know where it has got to hide itself at. So let me see if I can find it. Let me stop it. Let me run it again. Parent company, okay, parent. Okay. So here we have the pop-up. It was hidden behind most of my files. So you can see it says what? This is a test message, and then there's info, so I just press OK. So as you can see, when I click here, it brings up the pop-up immediately, which means the computer it knows what to do when I click on the button. And again, that set of codes is coming from this piece of code here, which is the add action listener. So it means in here, I will type exactly what I want the computer to do for me. Okay, what I want the computer to do for me, that is what I'll put in over here. So in here, I will first of all tell the computer to go and collect the information the person has typed inside the name, age, and course. If you have realized, every programming language we do the same thing where we go and collect the information. So here I have string name is equal to name field dot get text. Remember, the name field is what we call the text box on our screen. So on our screen, is it running? It's not running. Okay. On our screen, over here, this text box in which I'm typing in, it is called name field. So I'm telling the computer, go to name field and go and get the text that is in name field. Also, go to age and go and get the information that is in the age field. So get information. And over here, you can see the getters and the setters being used in their glory. Because how it will go and get that information, you really don't care. All you care about is the moment you get the information, it will go there, go and retrieve the information and return it back to you. So here to get text, and then that is all. So all the information that is inside the text box here, the age here, and then the course name over here, whatever the course name of the person is, that information would be retrieved and then brought to you over here. Another question the students will ask is, sir, why is it that the information we are collecting for name is stringed? The information we are collecting for age is also stringed. The information we are collecting for course is also stringed. But age is supposed to be integer. Why are we not saving it as a what? Integer. We are not saving it as an integer because the information you type in your text boxes are strings. That means that when you receive it, you would have to now change it into a what? Integer or a double or whatever data type you have. But all information you collect from your screen are collected as a string. Then you will now have to go through the pain of converting it to the data type that you want. Now, on our screen here, we are going to create something at the top of our entire work. So we are going to create something here. This is something which we have not done in our normal day-to-day coding, to be honest. But it is an array. But it is a very clever array. It is a form of array whereby I would be saving an item and a key together. So in here, I'm going to say private, static. Now, the moment I say static, it means that that thing would be loaded in memory, and throughout the lifespan of the program, it cannot be removed, and it will be permanent, right? And here I'm going to use map. Now you can see here that Java, at the moment I type in map, so static, and then I type in map over here, you can see that Java immediately tells me that for map, I need a key and a variable. So this here, it is a container that saves two things at a time, a key and a variable. So when I want to locate something, all I have to do is mention the key, and it will go and locate it for me easily. And it is going to help me store multiple things at the same time. Yes, Hewlett.
Yeah, so sorry for interrupting you at this point. My question will take you a bit back, just to the previous one. So does it mean that we can't put constraint on the users? All right, so that let's say on age, all right, because if this is string, means that they can put anything. So for instance, somebody could put 32, I mean, in words, all right,
Okay.
which might not be what we actually need within the database. So does it mean that we are unable to constrain the users on what on the way we want this information to be given?
Okay. So over here, if you want to check that, 1 second, my PC is going off. Let me charge it. Okay. So sorry about that. I had to charge my phone or PC very quickly. Now, in here, first thing, the information in the text, the text field. So the information I type in here and here and here are saved as strings. So regardless of if I come and type 23 here, or I type the words here, it would be saved as a string. That's number one. Now, when you collect that information, so over here I have collected that information. When you collect that information, then you will now have to make those checks and constraints and make sure the user does the correct thing. So for example, here you would say if into bracket is numeric. Into bracket. In here, I'll put in age. Okay. Now, I'm going to create a method over here. I'm going to create a method over here, say public static Boolean is numeric. Then in here, I'll put in a string. So that in here, I would say for each character the person will have, check if the character the person has is a check if the character the person has is a number. So exclamation mark character dot is digit. See, return false. And here I'll say return true. So that's over here. When I call on this one here, age, I can put an exclamation mark here. And then in here, I would say number I'll give a message that age is only numeric. Please enter correct age. And then I will return over here. I'll just say return. That it will stop. You understand? So over here, sorry. Over here, you have to go through the pain of checking and making sure the user conforms to what you want to do. And once you confirm he's not conforming, then you would give an error message and stop your program from running. Okay, so in the example in which you have just given me, by the way, we'll take these parts out for now. For now, we are acting as if the people who are doing the program will all do the right thing, okay? In which it's not necessarily so, but we are assuming everybody who is doing it will do the right thing. Are we okay? But 1 second. Oh. Yes. I want to use this practically for you to see. So over here, I would give a pop-up message of this message here, so that the person will know that what he's doing is not good. So you should do the correct thing. So let me start this all over again. I am here. Oh, let me cancel this and say else. Give me a message again that says age is correct. Okay, so let me run this again. Okay, so in here, I'll have the name of the person. Let's say the age, I type in 9. Okay, so 9. And then in here, I type in IT. When I press this, it gives me an error that says age is only numeric. Please enter a correct, and then the other information should come. So a correct age and so forth. Now, if I enter a correct age, let's say 19, and I click here, then it will tell me the age is what? Correct. So you have to write the code for the constraints. Contrary to popular belief, the text box is just there for collecting information. So it will do its job. It will collect the information as a string. Once you get that information, you now have to write code that will check and make sure that each thing the person is doing is correct or wrong. I hope that explains your question. I hope that explains it for you, Hile.
Yeah, I get it. So that means that the text box is always collecting strings.
It's always
So
collecting strings.
independently, it's strings that we are going to receive. So we are responsible for making sure that the user puts the right information by putting the constraint code, all right, to tell the user what to do.
Very well, very good. So that is exactly what I'm trying to say. So back to the top here. What I was saying was that I'm going to put some code in here. Now note it is outside of the main function, right? So this is the main function. I'm outside of it. And then I'm in the main class and I'm here. And I'm going to create a private static map. The map here gives me an array. So it gives me a container. Let me bring it over here and show you very well. Let me open up in Excel and then see if I can explain this point very well. So over here, the map is going to create for me a container. So it is going to create for me, like, it will go into memory and create like a shelf for me. Okay. Now that shelf is going to contain multiple things. So the shelf will have a name. In this case, I'm going to call my shelf student. Okay. So I'm going to have a shelf and which I'm going to call student. Now, whenever I am saving something into self, I will save two things. I will save a key and I will save also the variable itself. So in here, I'll have a key, let's say 1. Over here, the variable will, let's say, be John. So whenever I tell the computer, bring me 1, it will go and bring me what? John, because I'm saving the key and the variable itself. So unlike a normal array, which is saving only the variables, with this, I am saving a key and a variable. And the good thing about a map is that I can save. So when I bring map, I have to tell the computer, first of all, that the key is going to have a data type of a string, and then the variable is going to have a data type of student with a capital S. That means that I am saving everything as a form of a student class. So it means that with each thing I save, it will have name, age, course, that, it will have get course, it will have fee, it will have remaining fees. So I'll just save a particular name and then save all of his information. So this will allow me to do that. And I am calling the entire container that will be saving the name and this as what? Student with a small s. And this should be equal to a new hash map. Done. So this piece of code here creates this container for me where it is called student. I'll have a key here where I can enter a string value. So in this case, I'll be entering the student's name here. And then in here, I'll have all of these variables and things that make it an object being stored here for me. So that whenever I say John, it will bring me all of the objects and things of the student. So that when I come in here, after I collect the information of the student, I can store it. And what do I mean? I can do this. I can tell the computer, if the name is empty, and here I have to bring an exclamation mark because this will save true or false. So it means if this is false, then it will say, it will transpose it and make it what? True. And if it is false, it will transpose it and make it what? The other one. So, okay. So here I have this. And at the same time, exclamation mark age dot is empty. And at the same time, exclamation mark course dot is empty. So this piece of code here would make sure that if the person does not type something here and here, but leaves this one, block him. If he types something here, here, and here, then you can come in here and do whatever you want to do. And what do you want to do? I want you to go and pick the container I created called students. So over here, or let me add the S. So it's called students. And then I want you to put into students. So I'm putting into students. What am I putting into students? The name of the person that you typed over here and comma. So the name here, remember, it is a string. So over here, we told it at the top here that you are accepting a string, comma, and an object, which is called student. So over here, I have to tell the computer that I am creating a new object called student. And in here, the student will have a name, comma, an age, comma, and a course. And I'll end this with this. Now, right now, this here would flag an error on age because age here is a string. But age here, when we're telling it to use it for the constructor, we said that the age is an integer. So over here, you can see that the age is blinking for me and telling me that it requires an integer and I've provided a string. So I have made a mistake here. So I have to tell the computer that integer dot pass int, and then I'll pass the age through it. Now, this piece of code here will take the string and convert it into a what? Integer. You can see that immediately the line goes away because now you know that it's accepting a string, an integer, and another string. Over here, remember, a string, an integer, and another word, string. Good. So this piece of code here will create the student for me. And this will give me the student's name as a key, so that if I want to look for it and I type John, then this key will be looked for, and then I can go and pick this student over here. Remember, over here, I could have used, like if I have the student's ID, I could have changed this place to, let's say, integer, and here I would collect the ID of the student and put it here, or things like that. So this will help me when I'm going to do the searching. That's why I'm using the map. And then, after I have done this, I need to tell the person that registration has been what? Successful. So how will I tell the individual that registration has been what? Successful. How will I do that? I have two ways I can go. Where one, I can give a display message. Registration has been successful. I can also put it inside the design we did. Let me see if I can put it inside the design we did. So when I scroll up before the button, but after the field for course, I'm going to create a J label here, and I'm going to call the J label registration status as one word, which is equal to new J label. And the text, I'll put nothing there. And I'll tell the computer that this here the button. if I do it here, it would, if I do it here, it would come before the button. Let's put it here so it is after the button. So that in here I can say registration status dot set boundaries is going to be 10, 160 or get. No, set is set registration boundaries. So 10, 160, comma, and then we want the width of it to be 350, comma, and then here will be 25. Great. So now we have this, okay? So that in here, we can tell the computer that go and look for the registration status. So go and look for the registration status. And when you find it, go and set text. And then the text I want you to set is student registration successful. Semicolon space, then I'll bring a plus here and put the name of the student here. And then if the person has left any field empty, we'll tell the person registration status dot set text into bracket, please fill in all fields to register. So now when I click here, I open here, I am here, I type in, let's say, John. I forget to type in the age, and I go and type in the course as IT, and I click on register. Nothing is happening. And the reason why nothing is happening is because I made a mistake and forgot to tell the frame that it should add the registration status. Good. So now I would stop this. I would rerun. Please take note of my mistakes. Then when you are doing it on your own and you get these kind of mistakes, you know what to do. You know why you are getting the mistake, why you are making that kind of an error, what you've forgotten. Are we okay? And again, look at how I solve the mistakes. You can see I don't panic. I just go back to what I have done, look for what I am missing and try to solve it from that point of view. In here, I have what? John. I have the age. I've forgotten the age. Over here, I say the person is doing IT. I click on register. I can see here, please fill in all fields to what? Register. Over here, I go and enter the age. I click on this. It tells me student registration successful, John. So I've been able to properly register what? John. So you see, all the things we have been doing so far, we just do them and then we leave the user experience from it. Now we are joining the two. We have collected the information we need and we have used that information to build our object, and we are storing the object in a map. Are there any questions so far? So now we are done with the first half. The first half was us registering the person. The next half would be for us to go and add the person's school fees. So whatever school fees in which the person entered, I have to now go and then what word? Add the school fees the person paid into the system. So over here, I'll create some space, and then I'll tell the computer I want to continue from here. I want to create a new label called a new label because we're coming to do the fees section, right? So I want to create a new label. So over here, I'll call it fees section. Perfect. And then in here, I want to create a J label, which is going to be called fee label. Which is equal to new J label. And in here, I'm going to put in fee payment. Wonderful. Then L for the label is capital. That's why it was red. So here I have fee label dot set boundaries. Here I have 10, 300, 200 by 250. And then over here, I'll tell it to add it to the word, the frame. Remember, if you don't add it to the frame, you will not see its manifestation when you launch it in your, or you run it, all right? And remember that when we started, we added what? Frame should be visible. That's why whenever we run it, we are able to see it. So over here, you can see I have student registration, I have fee payment. So now I can put the fee payment information too down there. So when I scroll up, I get here. The next thing I want to do is add the name of the student who is going to pay the fees. So I'll have to add the student's name. So let me go and cheat a bit, forgive me. And then I'll come to the top here. I have name here. So I'll copy this and bring it here. So that here I'll change it to student's name. Then here will also be student's name. Then over here was also going to be student's name. And then, oh, I've created the label first, so that's fine. So over here would be 10, 230, and then the height is fine. But here I'll have to have students here so that you know it is different from the one at the top. So when I run this again on my screen, I'll see fee payment, student's name over here, different from the student over here. Good. Now, again, allow me to go and cheat a bit. So I'll copy this one here so that I'll bring it down here and I'll have student's name field. I'll have student's name field again here. And over here too, I'll have student's name field too here. And then of course, for the student's name field, over here will be 1, 2, this is correct. But I will change the width to 1, 3 to 230. And then I will change this one to 250 like that, and that is fine. So when I click here, I should see me having student name and then this information over here. Okay, then I have to do the same for amount paid. So over here, I'm going to have J label fee amount label, which is equal to new J label. And I'm going to put in amount what paid. Okay. So that here I would give it the label information. So I'll say fee amount dot set boundaries is that. Then over here, I'm going to say frame dot add, and I'm going to add it to the frame. Okay, now we have this one being added to the frame too. So this is the label. Now I have to add the text box for the person to be able to type in. So you can see I have the label. Now I need a text box for the person to type in. So over here again, I'm going to say J text field is equal to the amount field, which is equal to new J field. Now I'm going to set the boundaries for that too, which is going to be the amount dot that. And then in here, I'm going to do this one 250 so that it matches with the other one. And then of course, I'll tell the frame dot add into brackets fee amount. So this has been added to our what? Our screen. Now when I click here, stop running, I click again for it to start running again. On my screen, I'll have amount and a place for the person to what? Type. Also, when I scroll back down, I need to add the button that the person will be using. So over here, I have a button somewhere here. Where's the button? Here, J button. So let me just copy it and then bring it here. And then here, I'll change it from register to fee button, and here to register to fee button. And finally here to go to fee button. And here can go to pay fee. So that will what the person will see. Of course, I need to change the boundaries of it so that it will not appear as the same place as the other button there. So I will change the boundaries of it. Now when I click here, I will have my button appearing here, but the button is too short. So I'll change this one from 150 to 250 so that when I refresh it again, the button will now have a width that is long enough to fit this one and they will all look nice. Also, I need a final place where I can showcase the button, the answers I get. So the same way over here, I created a registration status label. I'll come down here and create a registration status for fee. So here I'll have fee status. I'll have fee status here too. And finally, over here, I'll have fee status. And I will change the bound directions so that they will also match the other one. Good. So now I have this. Now I have to write my code. So I'll come and write my code down here. I'll tell the computer, go and look for the fee button. When you find it, add an action listener. And in here, look at what I do. I just type new. And when I give space, you can see action listener there. So I just press the tab and it will complete everything else for me. So that in here, I can write what will happen when the person types or clicks on the fee payment button. First thing I need to do is collect the information that is there. So I'll have string name is equal to the student name field dot get text. I have string amount str is equal to fee amount field dot get what text. This good. So now I've collected the information from the person. First thing I need to check if the person that is here is in the array I created that is using the map. Is he there? So I'll simply check that by saying if you go to the students array we created, and you check the keys, and the keys contain this name, then you can enter here. Other than that, you will tell the person that the student does not exist, and we'll tell the person the student does not exist using fee what? Status. So fee status dot set text student not found, exclamation mark. Now, when I scroll back up here, I'm in here. So here, the if statement, when the student is found, what do we do? So if we found the student, then we need to go and pick the information of the student. That is an object. So I'll say student is equal to students, that is the array, dot get into bracket name. So you see that the key for the array is allowing me to check. Remember, we said that the key over here, we said the key will be pointing to the object. So when I enter the key, it will go and pick up the object from me and give the object to another object, which is of data type student. That is the one we created over here. So now I can use that object to say if, into bracket, the amount the person has entered as the fee the person is paying is not empty, then we'll come back in here again. Now, if the amount over here is blocked, then we'll have an else statement to tell the person dot set text. In here, we would say, please enter amount. You see, or enter a valid amount. Okay, so that takes care of that one too. Now, if the person has entered a valid amount, then we go integer amount paid is equal to integer dot pass int amount str. So now we are telling the amount the person entered from a string to an integer so that we can use it. And then we'll just say the student dot pay fees. And then we'll put in the amount he has paid. Very simple. Then here we'll come in and say fee status dot set text payment successful. Remaining fees, semicolon, plus the student dot get remaining fees. So you see the joys of programming with object-oriented is this. The moment I said get remaining fees, it means the computer will come here, go and look for get remaining fees, and subtract the total fees from the fees the person has paid. As to what's the fees the person paid and whatever, I do not care. All I want is the remaining fees. So how you calculate it, I do not care. So back in here, I have been able to pay the person's fees. So when it goes to pay fees too, we'll put the amount here and the amount to be added to the fee paid amount. So everything is being set, and all I have to do is just write the get and sets and then the functions for them, and they are doing the jobs in which they are supposed to do. Let's see how this thing would run. If I click here, I start my program. So here I can say John is age 19 and he's doing IT. Register John. I've registered John. Let's say Jane is also doing IT and she's 19. I've registered Jane. Let's say I'm looking for a student called Amma and I want to pay 200 Ghana cedis as fees for Amma, and I click here. Amma is not a student in our system. Okay, let's say I want John. And I want John to pay an amount of fees of 200, and I click here. John's fees has been paid. He's owing 800. Let's say, John, I want to add an additional 300 to John. I click. John's fees has been paid. He's owing 500. Remember, we paid 200. So 200 plus 300 is 500. 500 minus 1,000 is 500. So John's fee is 1,000. Over here, I say, oh, Jane is paying 100 cedis. I click here. You can see that we are saying that Jane is not found. Why is Jane not found? Over here, I use a small j. Here, I use a capital J. So if I change this small j to a capital J here, and I click on pay fees, then Jane is found. Then 900 is deducted. So you see, the system is working. The information is being gathered and the function is working. You see how when I enter the information, it will store information about the individual. We are storing the individual's information in the map. And the map is allowing us to have information on the individuals that we are dealing with. Are there any questions, please?
No, sir, I think this requires us to do a deep think on what you've done. It's a lot. It's a lot. Right. So we'll post questions that we have on the WhatsApp chat.
Okay.
As we go step by step.
Next week, when we arrive here, we are going to go and right-click on New. And we are going to go and look for new Swing UI and click on Form and then give our Swing UI a name. Let's see, let me call it money for now, just money. And let me press OK. So that next week when we come, we are going to have this. And over here, you can see J button, J text field, J label. So we will just pick J label and come and put it here. And you can see I've put a label over here. I can go and give the label its name. Let's say name, semicolon. Oh, sorry. Let's say student name. Oh, this is the system name, sorry. So I have to look for the system name has to be one word. I can't make it 2 words. So let's say student's name. Good. And then I have to rename this for the text property by calling it student name. So you can see I have my student name over here. Of course, over here too, I have the code. So you can see that I've just created student name and I can see the student name over there. So instead of us writing the code for the label and all of those things, we are going to use the design panel here to design our form. So the form we did, we'll design it again using this section here, where we'll just pick the text field. I'll come and put the text field here. So J text field, I'll come and drop it here. So now I have a text field over here. I can give the text field its property name, and then I can move it from there. Now I'll use this interface to design my entire form. So what we did, I'll also come here and design it. You can see I can make it shorter, design it, make it look good, and so on and so forth. So that's what we'll do next week. Then we'll also join it to a particular class in which we'll design. Then from there, we'll go and learn interfaces and so on and so forth, and how we can put information into the database. Programming takes time. Programming, you would make mistakes. You can see me doing it. You can see that I am not perfect. I make mistakes. You can see that when I make a mistake, I am able to correct it quickly because I have seen such mistakes before. If you have not seen such mistakes before, you can't correct. Do not always be quick to look for help from a friend. Struggle a bit. research a bit, try to find out on your own a bit. Once you know what you are doing, you can utilize it, and then whenever you are alone, you can find a way to utilize it. Also, I know life is hard. I know Ghana is hard, making money is hard. You spend all your time at work, you don't have time for any other thing. I know. That is why whenever you message me with a problem, I never tell you go away or something. I reply you and tell, okay, do this, do that, or whatever. Those who message me with their problem. Do not let us make the classroom the only time we learn. Find time. If you have to sleep less and wake up around 4 to study for like 2 hours before you leave for work, create that time. It is worth it. Think of what you will be doing 5 years from now. Even if it is not coding, and you would have to be a project manager for a particular organization, the fact that you know the code, the fact that you know what it entails, you can use that to do your timelines, tell people what to do, be specific, create an environment that is specific enough for the people you are dealing with. It is very important for me that you not only know what you are doing, when you are doing it, and how you are doing it. So spend time. It is practice will make you perfect. Anyway, enjoy your week. I would send you the code or the video, and then I'll send you also the code for each of the screens so that when you are doing it, you can compare and then know what you are doing. Thank you. Yeah.
Please, can we add print receipt for the fee payment also?
Can we print receipts? Yeah, we can print a receipt.
Oh, okay.
We can print a receipt. To be honest with you, we're supposed to add searching for the students. So you can see I have searching for the student here. So that when I type John and I click view, then it tell me John's information. When I click like how much has he paid, how much is he still left to pay, like those kind of things. And so we can do anything in which we want. But the key is first we need to know how to design the form, collect the information. Then from there, anything we want to do, we can do. You understand? Mm-hmm. Anyway, thank you all for coming today. I would see you again next week. If there's anything, let me know in your WhatsApp group. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
It's an interesting session.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.